Come on, steering wheel. There we go. Ooh, what's up, bazookas? Gonna pop a cold one. Look at that golden hour C4 Arctic snow cone. While I wait for a few people to join, I was asked to go live by some of the followers. So here I am. Let's see if they're able to join and ask any questions. Some people ask me for advice in boot camp, but to be honest, everybody has their own opinion on how you should be in boot camp. Some people say you should blend in. How come I can't see the chat? Let's see. Live chat. There we go. Some people say you should blend in, not be seen, be invisible. Some people say you should try your hardest, try your best, try to do everything, volunteer for everything. I did the try my best, volunteer for everything. Um, One thing that does is make you known by everyone. What's up, Toya? I did this live mainly because she's getting ready to go to boot camp and she asked me to do this. So, Miss Toya, ask your questions now or forever hold your peace. I'm just sitting here in the parking lot of the commissary. I just got my hair cut. And is there a better angle I could do this? Let's see here. That works. That works right there. Got my hair cut, had dinner over here at Panda Express. And I went and got a bunch of Halloween candy to give away on the ship. And I also um I got some MREs and like tuna snacks and things like that for the days that maybe I miss going to the galley, or if I want a snack, I get like healthy snacks like canned salmon that comes in like extra virgin olive oil and lemon. Toya says, was I sleep deprived or well rested in boot camp? I was sleep deprived. Yes. So the reason I was sleep deprived was not because they didn't give us time to sleep. It's because people will not be quiet. You're not going to change it. It is what it is. Some people used earplugs to go to sleep, but I used my boot camp watch as my alarm to wake up because I like to take a long time to take a shower, shave, go to the bathroom. I didn't like to be rushed when everybody was in the head all at the same time, shaving, crowding themselves and stuff like that. But yeah, you will get plenty of sleep. They just don't let you. Oh, how do I see that? J Dub says, I joined at 36 here now at Pensacola. He's a CTR. That's dope. It seems there aren't many health food options, especially when we can't really cook in our dorms besides the microwave. How do you fare? Same thing. On the ship, we just had a menu review board, and I actually asked if they could cook the meat and things like that without the sauce all over it, so we could eat a little healthier. They usually have fruit and they usually have vegetables and some kind of meat. They just don't give you a lot of meat, unfortunately. You just got to do the best you can. Toya says, did a lot of people get sent back for not passing the swim or running? So the swim, they give you a lot of time to learn. So when you go the first time, try your hardest, jump off the platform, just try your best. There's people there that are going to rescue you. No one's going to let you die or drown or, nothing bad's going to happen to you. Just trust everyone there. And the people that didn't pass the first try got to go to like a remediation, like a remedial swim class in like a kiddie pool, and they, teach you from the very basics how to swim. And I think only, and they even say like your class goes on to graduate and you didn't pass swim, they will ASMO you. You'll get sent back a couple weeks to another group that's a couple weeks behind you or 3 weeks behind you or whatever, and you'll keep going to swim with that group. So they'll have a couple stragglers who weren't good at swim, but most everyone did really well. There was one guy in my class. He was an RP, but he was going to the reserves, and he did not graduate with us because he couldn't pass swim. Same thing with the run and stuff like that. If you can't pass it, I know they try to give you chances. They don't want to kick you out. They definitely try to help you pass. If you try your hardest, you're going to pass. What should we know besides the Sailor's Creed? These are good questions, Toya. What should we know besides Sailor's Creed, General Orders, rank and recognition? If you know those three things, before you go, you're a genius. You will be a smart person in boot camp. If you know your Sailor's Creed, General Order, and rank and recognition, you will destroy it. Rank recognition. Oh, one more thing, chain of command. If you can learn your chain of command, you'll be a superhero. Because when you do your uniform inspections or your personnel inspections, those are the questions they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you, what's your fifth general order? What's your third general order? Who is the Secretary of the Navy? They're going to ask you things like that, and you'll have to know. Were there a handful of reservists or mainly active duty? There was a handful of reservists. Yeah, they go through the same boot camp. So there was quite a few people in the reserves. Even in my A school, there was people after A school that were going to the reserves. Man, these are great questions. Anyone else, if you have questions, let me know. So I actually, going back to what the other person asked about food, I gained weight from boot camp to A school to now. The harder I work out, the more appetite I get. And if you're not eating good food, if you're eating a lot of carbs and things like that, you're going to gain weight, especially if you're not, burning them and using it. So yeah, I definitely gained weight. I went through the doctor on my ship to get tirzepatide. I've only been taking it a few weeks now, but I've already lost like 5 pounds. And what it does in layman's terms, it basically makes you less hungry. So that's what's working for me right now. Toya says, was the food just about the same at boot camp as in A school? Essentially, it's the same. Every ship, every A school is going to be different. Even the ships in boot camp are not all the same. They all have different managers and cooks and staff working in each ship. Like I was in ship 7, USS Chicago. My ship was right across from, what was it? Ship 4 or something like that. Our food was different. Boot camp was surprisingly full of funny moments for me. What were some funny moments for you? Man. One guy lost his CAC and someone found it in the PUA or something and came and gave it to the RDC. And the RDC made him walk with his hand out in front of him like this, with his CAC out, just marched around the compartment for 45 minutes saying, "This is my face and I will not lose it. This is my face and I will not lose it. This is my face and I will not lose it." Nonstop. Some people had a hard time adjusting to military bearing, and they would still things like say things like "yeah." If the RDC would come and ask you something, and you would say "yeah," which the person wasn't trying to be rude, they just were talking in their normal civilian lingo instead of saying "I, chief," or "yes, chief," or something like that, And they made them stick their head in a trash can and say "yeah, yeah, 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 yeah" until they almost threw up. So there was some. For me, I thought that stuff was funny. Some other people might not have thought it was funny. People getting in trouble for the dumbest things or faking that they're sick or something just to separate. Some of that stuff to me was funny. I personally don't really want like people who don't want to be in the Navy. I don't want them to be in the Navy. I don't want people in the Navy who are miserable, who don't want to be there, or who are forced to be there for whatever reason. Those people are not fun to work with. So, when those people would get in trouble and stuff like that, that was amusing to me. I thought it was funny. Was there a decent amount of older recruits? I think there was. Well, there wasn't that many older recruits. Oh, I'm trying to prop my phone up here on this bag of candy behind my steering wheel. Sorry. There was a girl from Brazil. She was 42. Um, there was another guy from China. He was 41. There was a couple people above, like same age as me in there. And then there was a little sprinkle of people in their like 30s, and then a sprinkle of people in their 20s, and then all like the rest were like high school kids. But yeah, the older people were the like most reliable and considerate and clean, and like the kids were up making noise all night and stuff like that. And it's it's very interesting because if you've never traveled or been around other cultures, or been around other people who live differently than you, it takes some getting used to, because in some houses, people stay up late at night, make noise, and it doesn't bother the people that live there. They sleep through it. For me, I don't like it. When it's nighttime, like it's time to go to bed. How was the weather when I went? I went in March, so it was like right at the end of winter when it started to warm up, right at the beginning of spring, and it was awesome. So we got to see a little bit of snow. We got caught in the rain marching a couple times. And then when you would leave, it's like hard to explain, but there is one part that I will always remember. It was so beautiful. When we would leave our barracks, we would leave our ship, and we were going down to the main part of base, where Freedom Hall was and like all the activities were. Later on in boot camp, when you go do the live fire and all the tests and stuff, you start going over to the big part of the recruit base, and there's these trees. If you've ever been there and you've been there at this time of year, you'll 100% know what I'm talking about. If you were there and you weren't this time of year, I'm sorry, you didn't get to experience it. You walk down the hill and you're going under the bridge, the first bridge that gets to like where the giant anchor is. There's trees on both sides. And the whole time I was there, they weren't dead, but there's no plants on them. These are not winter trees. And it started to get warmer, and you started to hear birds and frogs and things like that. And it started to get really nice outside. We'd go out and march and march and march and march, getting ready for graduation and be sweating. And one day we went down, and these trees overnight had white flowers on them. Just blew up. White flowers. There's no green leaves anywhere on this tree. It's all white flowers on both sides. Super pretty. And then later that day, we went down and marched past it, and there was a little bit of blue, all the little white petals just floating in the air. It looked like anime. It looked like a samurai scene in like an anime. It was so epic and so pretty. It was just white petals everywhere and it looked like snow, but it was in the springtime. It smelled so good, like really pretty flowers and man, it was really nice. I wished I could have, had my phone to like take a picture, but we obviously didn't have our phones in boot camp. But it's locked in here and that was really cool. I like nature and stuff like that, so I appreciate things like that. I would always remember when we walked down early in the morning going back towards Pearl Harbor from Ship 7, and we'd go early and everybody's marching and you could see the fog coming out of everyone's the hot breath from everyone as we're singing cadence, and the sun would be coming up through the clouds. It's really pretty. It's super cool. Like Chicago is freaking cold. I got lucky. I feel like March is the perfect time. Uh, when I went to boot camp, I feel like that's the perfect time. Not too hot, not too cold. You get a little bit of both seasons there. Toy asked, where was my A school? RPA school was at Newport, Rhode Island for me. Newport, Rhode Island. And I went there. Um, when was it? March, April, May. I went there in June, beginning of June is when beginning or end? End of June. Yeah. And luckily I didn't go on hold. I went straight in. I think it was like a 3-day weekend. We left. So my wife came to Great Lakes. We spent the weekend in Chicago, had deep dish pizza and all that. It was super cool. My wife's the best. She comes to like uh whenever I have graduation or, travel or something for work, she's always there. So that was really cool to do that with her. It's like we've traveled everywhere because wherever I go for work, she comes. So it was cool. We got to go experience that together. She got a rental car. You're not allowed to drive when you graduate. So she came, she had a rental car and she drove me everywhere. That was a lot of fun. And I got to hang out with, when I went to Newport, I got to hang out with my buddy Caffeine Man who does reviews on YouTube. He's from Rhode Island, so he took me to some like famous food places out there. It was so awesome. It was cool. And we didn't like there's phases when you go to A school, Liberty phases, and you start off at the bottom phase. And really by the end of it is kind of when you're at like the most freedom. Or if you're on hold, you can earn the phases and eventually, you can go stay the night somewhere in a hotel or at a friend's house and you can wear your civilian clothes. I didn't really care about any of that. We could leave right off base the first day we got there. My rate is a very small rate, and I feel like my A school was the best A school. Our PA school was the best. Just from everything I heard from friends and things like that, my A school was the best. It was pretty dope. Any other questions? Anyone else got any questions? If you're in here, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'm doing this live for the people that have been following me since the beginning. I've been making these videos for over a year now. It took probably 8 months and two recruiters to finally go through MEPS process and all that. Swear into the delivery program, go to boot camp to now. And yeah, this is like a dream come true. I love the Navy. Every day is an adventure. I do so much cool stuff on the ship. Um, I have a lot of really cool friends and cool bosses. Obviously my chaplain is awesome. What's really cool at my pier, there's a couple of people I went to A school with in the ships around me. We were able to hang out and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Were recruits able to pay bills back home? Yes. So you can do auto pay or you can trust someone to pay your bills. Or you can, auto pay I think is the easiest because you're going to get paid on the 1st and the 15th every month, except during government shutdown. You might not get paid. But you can set your bills to auto pay based on that. So you can set your bills to pay, twice a month. You can do half your bills on the 5th or whatever, the next week, Monday after your payday. And then the second half of your bills you can do, on the 15th, 16th, whatever after that. That's what a lot of people did. The RDCs were very nice and let people a phone call. That's the downside of using your phone to do live videos and things like that. So, yeah. Where did I leave off? Because I think I was talking still as someone tried to call me. Oh yeah, the Bills thing. The RDCs were pretty nice. If people had to figure something out with Bills or something like that, even though they're very strict, they would try to help you out a lot. One recommendation I have: all of your security for your accounts, for your emails, all that stuff, turn off two-factor authentication, because they might let you go use a computer to pay a bill. And if you don't have your phone to do that two-factor authentication, you're going to be SOL. So go through by the way, when you're on a ship, you're not going to be able to do two-factor authentication either. So say you go to use a computer to do something, pay a bill or transfer money or something, or start an account, you're not going to be able to, because you won't have cell phone service to do two-factor authentication. So turn off all of your two-factor authentication. Pro tip. Anyone else? Anyone else got any goody goods? Everybody's experience is going to be different. Your experience is going to be different than mine, mainly because of our personality, because of our capabilities. If you're a very nice person, people are going to respond to you that way. If you're not a very smart person, but you're a stud, it's going to, balance things you're good at. And yeah, you might do really well in boot camp and then not good in A school, depending on your job. So, were they yelling on night of arrival? Yeah, I think they were, but not like yelling at me, not yelling at you. Just like, get off the bus, run, run, run. But if you're like doing what they say, if you're running when they say run, you never get yelled at. If they say hold up your phone and you hold up your phone, you're not gonna get yelled at. If they say turn off your phone and you turn off your phone and just hold it in your hand until they say put it in your pocket, you just follow the steps when they say to do it, you won't get in trouble. You won't get yelled at. I never got yelled at. The only time anyone ever yelled is like they would have to like make something up to yell at me about, just to like be fair to everyone. Like you learn when you go into a room to talk to your petty officer, you have to scan the room to see if there's a higher rank person in there than the person you want to talk to. If there is, then you're supposed to greet them. Then you start talking to the petty officer. But if you forget to say, good evening, Chief, Petty Officer, Senior Recruit Hill, respect request permission to ask a question. If you forget to greet them before you start talking to the petty officer, they're gonna, oh, you just don't want to talk to the chief. You're just gonna be rude to the chief. I'm not gonna say everything they said. Yeah, it was fun. I liked it a lot. How was the USO? Recruits go there before boot camp. The USO, awesome. If you are lucky, you will fly into Chicago O'Hare early, before they come to pick you up. If they do, go into the USO right away. Just go to the USO. If people say don't go to the USO right away, they're wrong. Go to the USO immediately. Go in there, get one of those comfortable recliners, and take a nap. Go to sleep. Just go to sleep. You're going to need it. You're going to thank me. Go to the USO, go to sleep. Don't play on your computer. Don't play on your phone. Go right to sleep. Oh, and try to charge your phone as much as you can because you're not going to be able to charge your phone for a while in boot camp. So charge your phone. But yeah, the USO is awesome. They got drinkies, they got juice and snacks and food and whatever people, donate. It's all free to you. There's video games in there and TV and big, comfortable recliners. Go get one of those chairs, recline it, close your eyes, and just go to sleep. Because you're going to be in for a treat when you get to boot camp. You're going to be up for 2 days. The first 2 days, you're going to be up. So if you're up from when you fly to O'Hare and you just stay up in the airport, technically you'll be up 3 days. So yeah, you're going to make your job a lot harder than it needs to be. What is this? So don't make your life harder than it needs to be. Let me text Romo back. Come on. Sorry, doing this text real quick. Mm-mm-mm. My gosh, texting on my watch is hard. Doing YouTube. Come on. Live. Send. The lady that cut your hair cut my hair today. She was like, I met 41-year-old that has been in the Navy for 9 months. I was like, was he a big white dude? And she was like, yeah. That's me. I'm famous, dude. I'm low key famous. All right, let me see if anyone messaged anything. Oh, here we go. Do you know if they're making any more boot camp documentaries? I have no idea. You know what? It'd be a good idea though, because Pete Hegseth wants to make boot camp tough again. So Jay says just got my in-knee surgery. Wondering from 1 to 10 how much running you experience in boot camp besides 3 PT tests. So 1 to 10, that's a weird way to scale it. You run often. You run, I think, like 3 times a week, sometimes a little more. It depends on your RDC. If you're in a group of people, so the RDCs are trying to get you flags. They're trying to get you flags. And let's say you're in a group and everybody passed the RDC assessment, the physical part, but people need to work on marching or studying, like for the tests. You're probably going to do those things more. There are some things that are scheduled that you have to do, like fartleks and different kinds of runs. You'll learn what a fartlek is. They have like different runs that I think you have to do, but they won't make you do like extra runs if your group is full of a bunch of studs. But if you have a bunch of fluffy people that suck at running, they're probably going to make you do that more because you need that to pass. You do march a lot, and if you're a road guard, you're going to run a lot. You're going to run everywhere you march. That's what really jacked my knees up, was being a road guard. So yeah, I was a road guard. in A school too. But then I ended up talking to the class lead, and I was like, yeah, I can't be road guard anymore. It's jacking my knees up. So I asked them if he would pick someone who had a hard time with their PFT, or not PFT, PRT. I passed my physical way higher than the standard for my age. So I feel like I earned the ability to not be road guard. Pick someone who needs to run. Let's see what else we got here. Were you in the 900 division, and why do people like those divisions so much? I was not in the 900 division. I was division 204. The 900 division is the exhibition division. They play the drums, and they're the color guard. They wear like cool ceremonial uniform stuff. And they go to other people's graduations to perform before they go to their own graduation. So you just do a little bit of extra stuff. You don't get any extra credit for it or anything like that. It's just a cool experience to be in the 900 division. They usually ask people like, you play any instruments. You'll see they'll ask you questions when you're going in. It's usually during P days they'll ask you that. But I wouldn't worry about stuff like that. I would just worry about making sure as a girl, make sure your hair is taken care of before you go. Make sure it's a natural color. Look up the hair regs. Learn how to do your hair, because the RDCs are very strict on that, on making sure your hair is correct. For dudes, it's like shaving and stuff like that. Yeah, they're very strict on that kind of stuff in boot camp. Don't put anything in your pockets. Don't put chapstick in your pockets. Don't put anything in your backpack. They will find out, and you will get a street hit, and you'll get smoked for it. You'll have to do extra PT, hot yoga sessions. You're going to end up doing them anyways, but you don't want to be the reason that they're doing them. People will get in trouble, and you will be punished for it. That's what's going to happen. You're going to be stronger. What else we got? Any more? These are good questions, Toya. What else you got? When are you going to boot camp again, Toya? Pretty soon, right? And what's your job going to be? Anyone in here who's watching, who's thinking about joining, put it in the comments. If anybody who's watching is already in, put it in the comments. Also, if you're the spouse or significant other of someone and you have a question too, you're more than welcome to ask. I will answer it to the best of my ability. November 25th, Yeoman. Yeoman is a difficult job. You don't, it's not physically demanding, but you guys work a lot of hours. You work in the office. You guys are making the plan of the day and processing a lot of people's paperwork. You're in the customer service industry as a yeoman. You got to smile and be nice. And really, you got to take care of people on the ship. Yeomen have a very important job. I think it's hard mentally, staring at a computer screen and doing paperwork. You have to be very thorough and very good at your job. You can't make mistakes, when you're working on people's paperwork and stuff like that. Everybody knows the yeoman and the PSs. What else? What else you guys got? Come on. These are good questions. Score 91 on the ASVAB, but jacked your knee up running, getting ready for boot. Want to be aircraft maintainer, trying again in spring. You only need 6 months from when you had whatever corrective surgery thing, as long as it wasn't anything too, drastic. If you had arthroscopic knee surgery or something, that's not a big deal. You just need 6 months from your surgery with no complications. and you can't be on any crazy medicine or anything like that. Yeah, you definitely could try again. You want to be an aircraft maintainer.
What branch?
The gas chamber, aka the confidence chamber, was rough. Yes, I am married with kids. The confidence chamber was rough. For me, I was taking Sudafed because there was this nasty respiratory thing going around. Everybody had it. We were all, someone had pneumonia in my division. It was crazy. Everybody was coughing up a lung. Actually, two guys might have had pneumonia, if I remember correctly. Man, we were hacking up a lung, and just everybody gets sick. There's just so many people from everywhere. If you're from one local area, you're used to the germs and bacteria from that area. You're not used to the germs and bacteria from everywhere. So all these people come around, everybody gets really close together and you get sick. And I'm taking a bunch of Sudafed, like the real Sudafedrin for my cough. And when I went to the confidence chamber, my lungs were pretty dry and my nose was dry from the Sudafed. So I didn't feel it so much in my chest because it's activated by moisture. But my eyes, I was legit blind for like 1 minute. Like I was walking out of the gas chamber back to the class and I was like, and they had a corpsman there, he's like, blink, Hill, blink. They could see your name on your camouflage on your type threes. And I was like, I'm not blinking. Like I thought I was blinking. He's like, blink. I'm like, I'm blinking. It was pretty rough. But then afterwards, it was fine. I didn't reflash. Some people reflashed, like when you take a shower, because it's on your skin and stuff. Some people, when they got back in the shower, the water reactivated it. OC spray is worse than the gas chamber. OC spray from Surf Bravo, that was rough. Yeah, that was rough. OC spray had me dying for like an hour. And then when I went home and took a shower, because we did it on like a Friday, so I had the weekend off, went home and took yeah, OC hurts really bad. See, Chris says right here, hurts super bad. OC is bad. I went home and took a shower, and it was like burning on my like inside of my arm, my elbow here, like that joint area. It was burning from washing down. I was bent over, so it like didn't go down to my private area. Trickled down. It was actually insane. OC, it was totally worth it though, because it's cool. Because now I know, like, if I'm going to use it on someone, I'll be confident that it's going to work. But I'll probably try to talk someone out of it. Like, please don't make me use OC spray on you. This stuff sucks. Oh, you got sprayed in the core, 17 hours of BS. Yeah, and everybody has different tolerances to it. There was some people who went through Surf Bravo and it didn't get them that bad. And there were some people that it affected them worse than it did me. But I still went through the course and all that. I have video of me going through the course. Maybe one day I'll do like a reaction video or something. If I get to more followers on here, I feel like if I get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll show me going through Surf Bravo and stuff like that. I'll show a little more stuff, but I don't want to put too much stuff out there without having like more followers, because I don't have anything cool to talk about, to keep those followers. Surf Bravo was cool though. If you want to be armed watch on your ship, you have to do Surf Bravo. You ran 3 miles first and then did the OC spray. Yeah, Marines are tough, man. We have Marines on our ship. I love them. They're tough little buggers. I love those guys. My best friends on the ship are the Combat Cargo Marines, the ship's company Marines. Love those guys. Super cool. Definitely my buddies. There's something I'm working on with the staff sergeant on my boat. Um, I'm waiting to see what happens, but potentially could be making the ship's battle flag with the staff sergeant on my ship. So pretty excited about that. It's going through the approval process right now. We'll see if they select it. If they do, that's a big deal. Like to be the creator of the ship's battle flag. Chris asks, "How's the Navy?" He wanted to join, and they wouldn't take him. That's interesting that the Navy wouldn't take you, but the Marines would. The Marines, I think, are a little more strict. I usually see people getting walked from the Marine recruiter over to the Navy. So that's interesting. I love the Navy myself. I personally love the Navy myself. I've always wanted to be in the Navy my whole life. Um, so I think the Navy is the greatest thing ever. But, you know, I mean, we work with the Marines. We literally, my ship is like an Uber for the Marines. So that I get to hang out with the Marines. I get the best part of the Marines. I get to see all their cool equipment and mess around with it and be friends with them. And I don't have to do all the running. So it's pretty awesome. It's hard being on a ship, though. Not everybody can handle it, you know? Not everybody can handle being on a ship for long periods of time. It's hard for some people. So for some people, being in the Army or Marines is better, you know, because they get to be outside or, you know, on land or whatever. How long after your knee scope were you able to run? Um, I after when I did my arthroscopic knee surgery, I walked out with no crutches. It's really not a big serious surgery. They just clean out the cartilage, take all the trash out of there that's floating, and suck out some of the fluid. You know, um, I left there um, with just ibuprofen, no painkillers or anything. It wasn't that bad, and I was walking on it right after. And I went to physical therapy and all that. I think probably a couple of weeks after, I was like the swelling was gone and everything. Let's see what else we got here. Your grandpa was UDT back in the day. That's super gangster. Underwater demolition tech. That's all the way dope. Or underwater demolition team, something like that. That's like the precursors to the Navy SEALs. That's where the Navy SEALs came from. Super cool. Yeah, your grandpa was probably a pretty dope dude. All right, what else you guys got? Anyone else in here? How old are you now, Christopher Ryan Harvey? If you don't mind me asking. Toya, you got anything else for me? Any other questions? I know you're over there struggling trying to think of more questions. Don't overthink it. Just go in there, be patient, listen to everything that you're told, try your hardest at everything. 42 just retired a couple years ago? Heck yeah. Retired from the Corps? That's dope. You're a pretty badass dude too. You're pretty similar to your grandpa. How long were you in the Corps? If you retired at 42 and you did at least 20, right? That's cool. I love the Marines. I think the Marines are dope. But yeah, like I was saying, just listen, do what you're told. No sleeping during battle stations or P days. You can't sleep anytime in boot camp except when it's bedtime. Oh, Army 12 Corps, 8 Army, PSYOP did do 20. Nice, dude. Oh, you did 8, you did 12 in the Army and or 8, 12 in the Corps and 8 in the Army? Okay, that's dope. Um, I got my wisdom tooth pulled out probably 3 weeks after we moved into our ship from Pearl Harbor to Ship 7. When you get your wisdom tooth pulled, you'll be SIQ and you get to sleep. That was awesome. Yeah. I mean, they don't give you, you get your jaw numbed when they yank them out, and then all they give you is ibuprofen afterwards. But I was so tired, I literally slept. Everybody that does the same thing, um, they drool bloody spit all over their pillowcase. It's so gross, but it's the best sleep you get in boot camp. There are people like screaming and yelling inside the compartment, and you're just knocked out. Nothing bothers you. Oh, it was awesome. It's like a little vacation right in the middle of boot camp. I got to sleep 2 days. Epic. I am a religious program specialist, Bobby, in the Navy. December 17th, I will have been in 9 months, and it'll be my first advancement. Caffeine at boot camp? I don't know. There is coffee and tea. There are tea bags, but I don't know if they're decaf or not. So if your RDCs let you have it, you can have it. There is coffee and there is tea. That's me. Did you go to Great Lakes? Yes. Great Lakes is the only Navy boot camp. Recruit, train, command, Great Lakes. That's the only place we have for boot camp now. We used to have three. It used to be San Diego, Florida, and Great Lakes, but now it's only Great Lakes. Will they allow meds and supplements? Yes and no. Uh, Supplements, they do sell daily vitamins at the Nex. Yeah, I heard that the coffee is decaf at boot camp too, but I don't know. I did join at 42. No, 41. I joined at 41. So there was daily vitamins that they sold the Nex that I bought. They said, yeah, you can have it. Any supplements that my wife sent me, they kept it until graduation day, and then they gave it back to me. Because there's like stuff I take at home, like DHEA, creatine, things like that. They would not let me take that. Uh, there are some medicines that they let some people take. You just tell them when you get there, like you take your prescription with you, and then when you get there, they'll either let you take it or they'll have you go see the doctor, reevaluate you, and then give you a Navy prescription for it. I take testosterone. They did not let me take testosterone in boot camp. But when I got out and went to A school, I went to a doctor. They took blood, and I'm back on it. So I take it, you know, prescribed by the Navy. Really great questions, you guys. Keep them coming. I want to help as many people as I can. You can see here, RP. If they sell the by the way, if you go to A school and they sell these in your A school, buy them. Some knuckleheads told me when I was in A school, oh, don't buy those. They're going to give them to you. Bruh, they gave me one set at the ship. There's like a uniform shortage. I wish I had bought these. You know what? Actually, I have a friend at A school. I'm going to send him money and ask him to send me some more of these because you can't buy these. Like if you can buy them at A school because it's a student setting, but when you come to like I'm here at the Nex, the uniform fleet supply store here in San Diego, not allowed to buy. Command issue only. What did you take in A school? What do you mean, Bobby? What did I take in A school? Church and boot camp was awesome. Later, Christopher. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Church in boot camp was awesome. I was an RP, so in boot camp I was an RPO. So that's one of the jobs you can get. I was the religious programs uh, officer, so I actually worked in the chapel. And because I'm an RP, the RPs in the chapel like took care of me. They let me ask a bunch of questions and gave me a bunch of experience. It was really a really cool setup. Um, but you can go volunteer in the chapel and stuff like that. Thanks, bro. I will definitely keep making videos. I'm trying to learn what I can and can't make. Obviously, I don't want to get in trouble, and I want to give you guys the best information possible. Um, Everything that I say on here is just my personal experience. It's not what do they say? Not the views of the Department of War or anything like that. It's just my personal opinion, my personal experience. Everyone's experience is going to be different. Everyone's A school is going to be different, all that kind of stuff. How were the inspections? The inspections were pretty tough. So, uniform wise, I never had a problem. I loved making my uniform look nice. I take pride in my uniform. I always polish my shoes and my boots. I don't have this patch right now because actually I traded patches with my buddy. So this is where my command patch goes. He's wearing his Type 3s today, the camouflage ones. And I took his off and I gave him mine. So I have another one in the ship. I'll put it on when I go back. But he's on the USS Pearl Harbor, which is an LSD big ship next to mine right now. So my buddy from A school, he's on this ship. That was cool. Uh, the inspections, the uniform stuff, I thought was fine. So they line you up. They line you up in front of your rack. Their bunk beds. Jeez, these things make my ear itch after wearing it too long. So you and your rack mate stand at the foot of your rack at attention for an hour or more. Your knees start to hurt. Don't lock your knees out when you're standing. You got to keep them bent a little bit. Your knees and your feet start to hurt, and you're just standing there forever and ever and ever waiting for them to come. And then they ask you a question. The first people in line usually get asked the easier questions. Um, and then the further down, goes like 80 something people in your division. The further down the line they go, they run out of easy questions to ask and they start asking more difficult questions. So if you're like at the end of the line, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully you're smart. Um, I was very good at making my rack and keeping my rack clean and my bed made perfectly. So I was right by the door, me by the door. So when people came in and do inspections, they usually just check the first couple racks and then they move on to the next compartment. They got to do a lot of checking. So they're not like checking every single rack. They usually go in there and check a couple. So because I always was squared away, I was right by the door to set a good example for my division. And then kind of a benefit of that is I got asked easy questions like, what's your first general order? I will walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert. So you gotta learn all those. You gotta learn all those things, and they usually ask you the first couple of them. So yeah, pretty cool. But if you're down further down in the corner because you want to hide, you get the harder questions. It just works out that way. I will take charge of this post and all government property in view. That's the first general order. The tests. So again, this is like anything else in there, okay? And you're older, you're more mature, so you understand you're going to do well because you're not a kid anymore. You don't get distracted easy. If you actually sleep at night when they tell you to go to bed, you're going to be rested. Yes, you'll be tired and stuff from running and always studying and learning, but you'll be able to stay awake. I'll tell you about that in a minute, Jay. But if you pay attention in class and you take notes and ask questions, and then you go back and study, they give you little study guides and stuff, you're going to pass all your tests. It's not hard. I don't think I ever. I, yeah, I aced most of my tests. Like, and I'm not the smartest person ever. I just stayed awake. I asked questions, paid attention. I had like a reputation of always participating. People always came and told me afterwards, "Hey, you asked really good questions. Thank you." So that's what I did. And then Jay asked, "How was the duck walk experience in MEPS?" The duck walk isn't bad. You just, I mean, you can do it. They're like looking to see if your hip joints and ankles and knees and back and all that stuff, they're making sure you're not like permanently damaged goods before they sign a contract with you. It's not a super hard. The duck walk is not hard. Nothing about MEPS is hard except the ASVAB. Unless you're really smart, then the ASVAB is easy. You know, yeah. I mean, MEPS is a little intimidating, especially I think if you're a kid. You don't have a lot of experience in that kind of stuff. If you didn't do research on jobs, I had a list of jobs. I had 10 jobs that I wanted. I had jobs up at the top that I thought were the coolest, but they all required a top secret clearance, or maybe like they wanted you to be younger. And then I said, okay, if I can't realistically, because work, you don't always get what you want. I'm like, if these jobs aren't available or I don't qualify, here's the second group of jobs I want. And I said, if I can't get these, and I looked at all the line scores, all the requirements of jobs. So when I took my ASVAB, I knew what I qualified for before I went in there. Here's the second list, and then here's the third list. And actually, RP was on my like dream sheet of jobs I wanted. I got a 63 on my ASVAB, but the score itself, the AQFT, like the overall score, it doesn't mean as much as the individual line scores, depending on what job you want. Like if you want to be an MC, you have to have different line scores than if you want to be like an RP. So very interesting stuff. But you can go on the Navy's website on the Navy HR. You can look at the job you want. You can see. Just ask them. If you don't ask them, they're not going to give it to you. But if you ask them, they'll give it to you. And you can go home and you can look on the computer and compare your individual line scores like math, reading, science, code, all those things. You can see what scores you have to have. And if you're off by a point or two on some things, they can give you a point waiver. It's possible to get a point waiver for some jobs. But again, you got to ask. And if you are not hurting to go in the Navy or you're not trying to go in right away, you can tell them at MEPS, thank you for the offer. Like, I would like to wait for my job to be available. Let me know when you get my job. Don't let them talk you into something you don't want to do. Have more life experiences. Did you go in a higher rank? I went in E1. December 17th, my birthday in E2. So it's 9 months from E1 to E2, 9 months from E2 to E3, and then 2 more 9 months. So 36 months total from the day you swore in, 36 months, you'll automatically be E4. So you'll be a petty officer third class after 36 months total. You don't have to do anything except be in and stay out of trouble. You just have to go to work every day. All right, couple more questions, and then we're going to end the live, and I'm going to drive back to the ship. What else you guys got for me? I really do appreciate all the questions. Some people watch, and they might be afraid to ask questions, but they will watch later, and they will appreciate it too. Firearm training was a lot of fun. What is the gun again? It's the gun. Not Smith and Wesson. Dang it. Why am I forgetting what it is? It's an M18. Dang, why am I blanking on what it is right now? Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. If you become an RP, there's a good chance you will see me. Um, Dang, I forgot what brand it is right now. Doesn't matter. The M18 pistol, 9 millimeter. They teach you everything you need to know about it. Um, it's a pretty cool firearm, and you go into the range and they get a whole class on it. Again, listen to what they say. They teach you everything you need to know. It's a lot of fun, and you get a chance to qualify when you're in boot camp. Thanks, Bobby. Thanks for coming and asking questions. I appreciate you. It's my pleasure. If there's people that come in and ask questions, I have no problem doing this, you guys. I have no problem at all. Not a lot of RPs on the internet. So I'm hoping that other RPs or people who want to be RPs can find me. We're a very small community. I think there's about 700 RPs total in the Navy, between the Navy and Marines. So, yeah, it's cool if, people want to ask me stuff about that. I know a little more about that than like any other job. All right, couple more and then we're going to end it. I know you got more, Toya. The firefighting, battle stations, the pistol, all that stuff was a lot of fun. That was the most fun part of boot camp, in my opinion. The first part of it is really tough. P days, when you're in Pearl Harbor, you're scared, you're nervous, you don't know what the heck's going on. And then they move you, you carry all your stuff. You got to walk like 2 miles carrying all your stuff to your real home, they call it, when you walk to your real ship. And, it might be really hot, it might be really cold depending when you go. You're carrying all that stuff. You can't put it down. You better learn how to tie your shoes because if they got to stop for you, you're gonna hear about it. Um, Boot camp is not really hard. Like if you did boot camp, and you slept when you were supposed to and ate well and you tried hard when they do the runs and they do the sustained runs and they do the fartleks where you like run for a minute and then walk for 30 seconds and run for a minute. If you actually try your hardest at all of the evolutions, you will do really well. You will do really well. It's not hard. It's not like Marine boot camp or Army boot camp. The snot out of you and you're just running all the time and eating mud and dirt and throwing grenades. It's not like that. The Navy is not that kind of service. You got to have like mental fortitude and you got to have character and integrity and stuff like that. You got to be motivated to be in the Navy because you're going to be on a ship. When it's hard being on a ship, away from your family, away from no cell phone, internet and stuff like that to take your mind off of things. You just got your friends, and your job, and the gym, and you got to be a positive person and find ways to make the time go by smoothly. And some of the jobs work crazy hours, and it might be a cool job, but you work crazy hard hours, and some jobs don't. Like the YNs, they're kind of like us, and we have like business hours, like normal business hours. But like engineers, those guys are working time, especially if there's casualties, something breaks, they call it on the 1MC, engineering casualty, CRT away, and all the engineering people got to go down and they got to fix stuff. They got to stay down there until it's fixed. So choose your rate, choose your fate. That's what they say. Do a lot of research on your job. Do a lot of research on all the jobs. Pick 2 jobs you really want the most. Pick 2 jobs that you think, oh, if I had those jobs, it would be cool. And then pick 2 backup jobs if you can't get those jobs. And you should know a lot of stuff about all the jobs. And just because you go to MEPS and they say, hey, they're going to hand you, there's a binder with jobs in it. Like, you want one of these jobs? And just ask them, hey, is MC available? Is RP available? Is this available? Just ask them. They'll look it up. They'll tell you. They have no reason, to lie to you about stuff, but they're going to offer you the ones that they want to fill. If you go in there and don't know anything about a job, they're going to offer you the job they need to fill the most. They have the biggest need for. That's their job. If you go in there and know, they're going to try to put you in the jobs that they need filled. It might be a cool job. It might be a hard job. You never know. That need is changing all the time. They might need DC men. They're gonna fill that up, and then when they fill that up, then maybe they're gonna need whole techs, HTs, and then they maybe need CSs. Maybe they need CBs. I don't know. They're always gonna that what they need is gonna change all the time. So it's on you to do your research and find out what jobs you're interested in. Realistically, what do you think you would be good at? On a hardest day, on your hardest work day, do you be able to hang, at least enjoy it on a hard day? Not everybody's got for blue collar type work. And bosun's mates, those are the blue collar, hardworking construction type dudes on our ship. Some people thrive in that, some people don't. They have a really cool job, but it's really hard to do. Can you bring your own running shoes? Yes, you can. They cannot be dirty. They can't be like gross and dirty and stinky and wore out. And they can't be crazy colors. They have to be like black, white, or like navy colors, like navy blue and white and gray, things like that. Like it has to kind of blend in, but you can't have like hot pink or hot red or anything like that. But yeah, you can take your own running shoes. And actually, I recommend it. The shoes they gave me at boot camp, they were not good for me. They're like a hard sole to like last longer, which is hard on my knees as a heavier person. I ran 11 minute, 11 minute, 50-second mile and a half at 41 years old, 230 pounds. I was smoking like other kids. Yeah, if I had to wear the shoes they gave me, my knees would have been blown out. So luckily, I took some Brooks with me. That I went to a place that like specializes in running shoes, and they measured my feet, and I told them what kind of running I was going to be doing, and that I needed something like soft but firm because I'm heavy. And the people there, I think it was Happy Feet, I think it's called Lucky Feet or Happy Feet. They hooked me up. They gave me like three shoes to choose from, and I just chose the one with the color that matched. That I thought I would get away with, like not get in trouble for wearing, which is basically like all black. Yeah. That was a good decision. They were $160. The shoes I got, worth every penny. Wore them all through A school too. We ran RPA school. We ran every day. RPA school. We did a lot of PT because some of our people go greenside with the Marines. So I thought it was cool. I loved it. Loved that we did PT every day. It was pretty awesome. Anyone else got anything else before I go? I'm trying to see if there's any more. I think that's it. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments. I will see them. I won't see them when I'm in the ship, but at the end of the day, I'll go outside and I'll get cell service. Unless I go underway or something that I won't be able to use my phone. But if you guys leave comments, I do respond back to them. Unless it's something like negative or dumb, then I'm not going to say anything back. And I probably will do another live stream in December. When I get my advancement, or if there's some other cool milestone or something that happens that I'm allowed to talk about, I'll do that on there. MREs are good. I like them, especially, if I miss a meal or something, they come in clutch. All right. RPSR Hill out.